Let's start with the first one. This is the Neewer 800. I recommend nobody get this microphone. This microphone does nobody favors. This is $20 for the same price. Get the XM8500, which is the same price, and this is much more flattering for your voice. Both of these microphones are going to require an interface anyway. Might as well go for the one that actually sounds good and is as good as a lot of $100 dynamic microphones. All right, next set of microphones I want to talk about. This is the MXL 770. This is the Rode NT1A. This is the Audio-Technica AT2020, and this is the MXL 990. Don't get these microphones, okay? These are not good, and consider these four instead. So I would recommend the Blue Ember. This is $89. Sounds better than all those, okay? This is the P-Roar C414. Watched a lot of videos on this, including mine. This blows away those microphones, and it's cheaper than on those microphones. This is the Audio-Technica 2035. Just costs $50 more than the Audio-Technica 2020. Huge difference, okay? And then the Rode NT1 Signature Edition, which is $159 right now. In my opinion, that's a good deal. The Blue Ember, these microphones here blow away those microphones out the park. Those should never be recommended, and they need to go to the land of, nevermore. All right, next microphone I want to talk about. This is the Synco Mic D2. There was a lot of hype about this microphone for like a little bit on YouTube. They were saying it's like the coming of the MKH416 for really cheap. Now I want to talk about a hot take here, but in my opinion, considering the price of the Synco Mic D2, consider another one instead, the Audio-Technica AT875R. In numerous tests that I've done, I found the AT875R sounded better. But I'll tell you what, if you're going to buy this microphone, buy the AT875R too, and test them out yourself, and pick whatever you think is a winner. But I pretty much guarantee you, the AT875R beats this microphone, and they're both about the same costs. All right, so this is the CAD E100S. This is the Boot Junkie microphone, and this breaks my heart that I'm actually making a video to say not to get this microphone. But let me explain. This microphone is a classic. It's a beautiful microphone. It sounds great, but there's serious problems with this microphone. The problem is two problems. Number one, it's discontinued, so you can't buy it brand new anymore. So if you want to get it used, you're getting like $300 to $500. But the most important problem is that quite a few of the devices have, or the E100Ss, they have hiss issues. Basically, it has noise. And what sucks, and we have had so many issues of voice actors talking about this, they'll send it to CAD and be like, hey, this is really noisy. They pick it up. They go, nothing's wrong with it, and they send it back. And then the voice actor goes, no, it is noisy, and they send it back. It goes back and forth. It's a nightmare. And at the end of the day, you're wasting so much time. That's not to say that CAD has bad customer service. I just think they have really bad quality control, or just something, you know what I mean? And that sucks, right? So, but let's talk logistics, okay? Let's talk logistics. Used, this microphone goes for about $300. Brand new, it's $500. Well, there's a microphone that's better. This goes used $300, brand new $500, and I hate to say it, the Shure SM7B is a better microphone than CAD E100S. Shoot me alive, I'll still say it to this very day. And tack on the bad customer service, not bad customer service, the bad quality control issues, just forget it. These days are over, all right? It's Shure SM7B time. All right, so what I want to talk about is the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti is around $130, and so I want to talk about other microphones you should consider instead, and to go from there. So this is the Razer Siren Mini. This is around $30 to $40. In my opinion, the sound of this is actually pretty comparable to the Blue Yeti, but this is actually obviously much cheaper. The only problem is that this doesn't have a headphone jack. That could be a deal breaker, depending on the situation. The next microphone I want to talk about is the Samson Q2U. Now, if you go ahead and put a clown nose on this, this actually has better sound than the Blue Yeti. And this is actually around $69. So almost like a lot cheaper than the Blue Yeti. Another one to consider is actually the Fifine K688. This is kind of like a poor man's Shure SM7B. Sounds actually really, really good. Sounds much better than the Blue Yeti. And this is around $69 or so. Another microphone to consider is the Elgato Wave 1 or 3. This is sort of a modern take of the Blue Yeti. So it's kind of like, it's got everything the Blue Yeti has, but it's a kind of a modern take on it. Same price. And finally, there's the Rode VideoMic Go 2. And this is my favorite USB microphone of all. I think it's personally sounds the best out of all USB microphones I've tested. And I've tested a lot. Yeah, it's my favorite USB microphone, and this is way cheaper. This is $99. This is $130, and this sounds better in my opinion. All right, so the next one is the Shure SM7B. This is a really hot take, but what I'm going to do is talk about budget alternatives. I'm not saying these sound better than the SM7B, but what I am saying is probably for most people watching who are using the SM7B, these would work instead and would cost a lot less. Okay, let's go really cheap. Really cheap. This is the Fifine K688. For what like almost everybody on SM7B, like on gamers and all that, are using the SM7B for, this would work just fine. Let's crank up the budget just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. This is the Miles Kennedy SE Electronics V7. This is a really great sounding microphone, and it kind of has SM7B vibes to it. And this only costs $120 as opposed to $400 plus $150. Yeah, people say they don't get the cloud lifter, but they freaking get it anyway because they're curious, right? So that's like close to $600 versus a $129 microphone. All right, so the last one's kind of a joke, but it's a Neumann U87. So the Neumann U87 AI goes for about $36.95. Now for context, and just to show you how silly this is, so this is the Neumann TLM-103. This is the MKH-416. This is the Shure SM7B. Right? This is the Cloud Lifter. This is the KSM-32. And this is the RE20. All of this combined is still not the cost of one U87. And all of these offer you far more value and offer you far more versatility. And I would argue some actually sound better than a U87. And the point I'm trying to say is like, sometimes you're just like, you see people that are like, oh, I need to get the U87. I'm like, no, you don't, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, that's just all I'm just trying to say is like, save your money and go for components that actually probably add more versatility instead.